Good morning, preppers. Happy prepping day to you. Time is short. Time is short for crickets. I'm going to actually add that on today. And I'm going to start off with this right here. Oh, gads, no, right in the line with the agenda crickets vegetarian. Or first off, notice Miss Happy Face here. I put that on there because, and I took the names off. So we're not about trashing the person who wrote this. Okay, it's not about that. It's about bringing up the conversation of crickets. I watched them on Goshen Prepping. Of course you did. This is your Goshen Prepping Facebook page. These are high carb, highly processed junk for kids. Yeah, no, comfort food. I'm with you on that. The actual humanitarian meals we put on there are not good for you. I'm going to make that really, really clear. And that's what they're talking about here, by the way, is the humanitarian meals. It's simply more of their agenda. And I'm not discounting. That may be true. But the next person commented and said, oh my gosh, crickets, I hope you're wrong. Oh, crickets. Yeah, it's all about the crickets thing we're going to talk about. Well, who's talking about crickets? And who is talking about crickets being in these humanitarian rations? Well, it seems to be in prepping, crickets are the talk of the town right now. That's what everybody's talking about. And I've said this so many times, I find that in the prepping community that one person will make a video, and it's usually one of those alarmist channels, by the way. They'll make a video and then they'll blow it way out of proportion and say, oh my gosh, look, everything's made out of crickets and blah, 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 blah. And it's not the case, because it's about being alarmist and it's about trying to get people to simply just click on your video so you can get the hits on there and the video views instead of actually putting out information, especially level-headed information. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it. And you may not like it either. Now, I decided to go ahead and at first I was going to say, I'm not going to talk about crickets because I find that when most of the channels are talking about something, I'll steer and just talk about something else. I don't know about you, but I hate jumping on bandwagons. And when I see the bandwagon going, everybody jumping on, I'll usually run the other way. That's my mentality, and that's who I am. I hate going with the crowd on stuff. And sometimes I find myself even trying to dispute what the crowd's doing. And that's certainly in this case when it comes to crickets. So I want to bring the truth about crickets. Are they putting it in our products? And what is the problem with this, if there are any problems at all? Okay, first off, I need you to know that this thing with crickets is certainly nothing new. Whoops, let me close this out. No, I do not want more from prevention. This is actually an article, where is it? From 2015. The unbelievable way dried crickets are turning up in your food. This is 7 years ago. And that's what we're talking about. It's amazing how some of the prepping channels are like, oh, well, look, alarmist, when this has been going on for 7 years. So that should be your first indication right now that, you know what, you shouldn't be just jumping on this bandwagon and getting all stressed out about crickets. All right, they're simply talking about bugs are trending, putting crickets in the food, making some chips from them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, talks about the benefits of it. I just want to show you this is not anything new. But I do want to click on the next one, and here's something I need to look at. Crickets, or can you eat crickets? All you need to know. This is a great article from Healthline. Okay, it's one of the most common insects people eat, not here in the United States so much, or even in first world countries, and that's the problem. They are rich in nutrients, especially protein, and they're more sustainable than things like beef. However, some people aren't comfortable eating crickets because they're concerned. Well, they say it's concerned about food safety, and I disagree with that. I think it's because it grosses people out. In the United States, we actually have specific things we view as food, and crickets typically are not one of them, and that's the big fear going on here. I mean, look at this person. He's literally has one on a fork. At least dip it in chocolate first. What are you doing? All right, so why do people eat crickets and other insects? It goes back, I love this, even from the 3rd to the 1st century BC. It has been going on for a long time. Crickets, as far as a source of food, is nothing new at all. So under resourced countries where they actually have lack of protein, no cattle, poultry, etc., then they'll often eat things like crickets to be able to go in there. So in other words, long story short, I need you to know that crickets as a source of food is nothing new. I mean, it goes back to, thousands of years ago, and still in many countries, crickets and grasshoppers, which are almost the same entomologically speaking, have been a source of food for a long time. Again, it's just in modern America, we're like, ooh, that's gross. It's kind of like some people are like, ew, you'd eat a snail, but yet escargot is a cuisine in many places. You wouldn't eat raw fish, but oh my gosh, sushi with the wasabi, that's where it's at. So don't get too hung up on for the fact it's crickets. So here's where we come down to the future of edible insects. And this is actually a website called thefutureofedibleinsects.com, which is interesting. And they actually talk about the FDA guidelines. Now, First and foremost, I'm going to tell you right now, if it says FDA guidelines, I'm probably going to, again, run the other way. I do not trust or nor respect the FDA in a lot of circumstances. But they're talking about on here that bugs and insects are considered food if that's their intended use. Okay, great. This is what they look at. And the label, here's what it is. The label should include scientific name, unfounded in law, listing things like cricket or crickets or cricket powder as ingredient declaration is not false or misleading. In other words, you can't simply put like the actual scientific name. You can simply say it has crickets in it. That's good. They must be raised specifically for human food. They cannot be wildcrafted. It must be wholesome product. And you have to worry about allergens because there are people who actually have allergens to crickets, even if it comes to having allergens to like shellfish and stuff. And so, in other words, what we're looking at is this. Although, from what I see, it's not required to have it on the actual ingredients because in our family, we read ingredients on practically everything to see what's in there. There's a lot of stuff in there that you don't want to have in your food. And we try to. We're not perfect, but we try to make sure that we actually have good stuff coming in the house. And from what I've seen in most stuff, when it contains crickets, it says in the ingredients that it has crickets. So it's this whole whispering, this whole rumor about them sneaking crickets into food, sneaking it in there. I'm not saying it's not true. It might be true, but I'm finding that most companies are labeling it, oh, this is crickets or cricket powder. Now, I know the whole thing with the WEF and all the elites trying to make it so they can actually farm crickets and put them in the food and such. And obviously, I'm against anything. I don't care if it's WF or our government or anything trying to shove stuff down our throat, metaphorically speaking, no pun intended, okay? Just tell me what it is. And personally, will I eat a cricket? I would. I mean, honestly, I'd rather have a steak. I'd rather have chicken, or even better, I'd rather have fish. That's me. I'm all about fish. I'd rather have rice and beans than eat crickets, but that's just me. And if you're offering a choice, that's the whole thing with like lab grown meat. And are they trying to like shove that down our throat? Yeah, of course there are. There's lots of elites like good old Bill Gates and stuff trying to make it so lab grown meat. They try to say it's for greenhouse gases, but I suspect it's for other reasons. And they're trying to make it so, well, look, this is actually something you should be eating instead of actually eating a cow. Of course, we know all the conspiracies, all the things that are happening, like in Europe, where they're trying to make it so having cattle is illegal because of the greenhouse gases, which is, in my opinion, a load of crap. I'm a scientist, and in my opinion, it's a load of crap from the evidence I've seen. So it's not about eating the cows and fish. It's not about eating crickets. It's about them forcing it down on us, and possibly the second thing of them hiding it from us and sneaking into our food. Personally, I have seen no evidence that they're sneaking it into our food. Please, by all means, if you've seen that somewhere, and I'm not talking about some other YouTube channel you watched, because that's not evidence. Maybe you have some documentation. Maybe you actually have seen some research somewhere. Then by all means, please put it in the comments below, because I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that as a rumor that people are spreading around about crickets. Okay, let's jump back into this. So anyways, they're talking about as far as what the FDA looks at it. You know, again, FDA's FDA. But here we go. Let's look at this. Natural news. And I suspect this is actually where a lot of this came from, because when I saw a lot of the YouTube channels popping up, it was about the same time Natural News made this article. You will eat the bugs. Major brands quietly slipping insects into your food. So here we go. This is the only article I've found that talks about them slipping it, sneaking it into your food. Let's go through this. Major companies are quietly adding insects to the food products, implementing a goal established by the WEF. Okay, so this is exactly what we're talking about. And these are the things that we have to take into account. Now, first off, they're starting to slip the bugs in. They're slipping the bugs in. When I see, oh no, that's Twitter. We don't want Twitter. Close out Twitter. Okay, when I see starting to slip the bugs in, I don't see it as in they're just now adding it to food and not telling you. Actually, that's how I do see it. They're adding it to your food and not telling you, that's slipping it in. Hey, by the way, there's crickets in here. No, look at these bags. This is not slipping it in. This is announcing it very clearly. Right here, actual foods, cheddar cheese puffs with cricket flour. That, look, sneaking it in, slipping it in, is not going to actually have it in the ingredients list. If you are dumb enough to eat the food without looking at the ingredients in the first place, then you deserve to eat things like crickets. Okay. Again, I'm not saying crickets are bad. Contains milk, crickets, and people who are allergic to shellfish may be allergic to crickets. Okay. That's not sneaking it in my opinion. Coming down, this is flat out not sneaking it in. Look, this company is selling whole roasted crickets. You can get, can't see it too well from here, chili flavor or chili lime. There's different flavors to your crickets, however you like them. Certainly not cheap. Holy moly. Okay. Keep going. Savory meal bar. They have, mango curry, Mediterranean barbecue. Are they slipping crickets in? No. It is cricket flour. They're advertising this. They're showing you in this. Now, again, I think people are saying it differently than I do, where they're saying, oh, no, they're slipping it in. In my opinion, they're adding it as an ingredient now to food. That's how I word that. But when they say they're slipping it in there, means like, we didn't ask for this, well, then don't buy it. Just like they're pushing to have labels, which I agree with, when there's meat, if it's lab-grown meat, there's a label that says lab-grown meat. That's not them slipping it in. That's simply them trying to get you to buy their product. Okay, that is a company trying to get you to buy their product. And companies will always steer toward making a buck, trying to change things in their direction. Companies always do this. Okay, but people complain about crickets, and they say crickets are like the worst thing known to mankind. Look at this. Oh no, Snowpiercer cricket protein, whatever. Cricket protein bar. Peanut butter and jelly. Which, this part right here makes me laugh more than anything else. If it's peanut butter and jelly, I'd love to see the ingredients in this. It's probably full of carbs too. So, I don't know. It's like all those things like, I eat protein bars, then it's full of carbs as well. Cricket protein bar. You can't get any clearer than this. This is not sneaking it in. This is them trying to get you to buy their cricket protein bar. Human improvement. I don't know what's going on here. Unique ingredients, unique blend of crickets with pumpkin and pea. Yeah, so it's not so blatant on here from what I can see anyway. A better way to protein, sure. I love this. This makes me laugh. Chocolate chirp cookies. That makes you at least laugh. Also to be featured as promised, chocolate chirps. So again, cookies, Hoppy Planet Foods, Hoppy, chirp, sure. Yeah, maybe they're doing a little play on words, but again, I'm sure if you look at the ingredients in this, you would see that it's actually made of crickets. Look, no, this has a cricket on the bar. This is, in my opinion, not them trying to sneak it in. This is simply just a new market that's emerging because you know what? How expensive is it to make a protein bar with proteins in it like beef and chicken? Very difficult. So we actually get proteins from other sources. Okay, but anyways, it all comes down to this. Are you ready? The reason that all these other channels drive me nuts, and I want to pull my hair out of, the reason that email drives me nuts, like, oh no, they're sneaking cricket powder in. You know what that makes me angry? Because people are eating crap anyway. Okay, let me give you some examples of eating crap. Let's go ahead and stick with eating sources of food that in my opinion, I would never eat. I can't love Dunkin' Donuts coffee anymore. I don't drink coffee anymore, but my wife, Ashley, and I used to love Dunkin' Donuts coffee like no other. There's something about the smoothness of it. It's really good. But we would go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee, and sometimes they'd make you wait in line. And they would say, oh, I'm sorry for waiting in line. Would you like a free donut? And we would say, no. Why is that? Does anybody know? Because Dunkin' Donuts, most Dunkin' Donuts, by the way, actually have an ingredient called L-cysteine. This is, in my opinion, sneaking it in. Because you would look at it and say, oh, L-cysteine, it's just an ingredient, right? No, it's not. It's proteins and collagen and such coming from hair. What kind of hair? Do the research. Horse hair, pig hair. Sometimes, you ready for this? Even human hair that's in that donut. So again, we read ingredients on everything now. If you actually look at the ingredients and see the word L-cysteine, there's a great chance you're actually eating some horsehair in there. I would rather have a cricket any day of the week before horsehair. Okay, maybe you're like, no, I can handle some horsehair. That's fine. How about this? You ready? It's amazing how people are saying, oh, you should better not eat a cricket, which is high in protein and in a lot of ways good for you, but then they eat pork. Have you done the research to see how bad pork is for you, to see how bad bacon is for you? And we're not talking about the garbage, the lies about cholesterol and stopping your heart. That's a load of crap, by the way. What we're talking about when it comes to pork is the way the porks, their sweat glands work, and they actually retain a lot of their toxins in their meat. So when you actually eat that meat, you're eating all the toxins that they ate. And what do pigs eat? anything. They will eat anything. It is nasty, nasty food. If you even want to call it food. In our house, we don't call pork food. We call it garbage. Because, when it comes to pigs for the longest time, even with people who don't eat pork, will still have pigs because it's a garbage disposal. You can throw anything in there and they'll munch it up and eat it. How about shrimp? Shrimp are delicious, right? Little shrimp. Have some shrimp and a little, what do they call it? The red sauce that they dip it in. The best way to understand a shrimp is like a cockroach of the sea. Do you like cockroaches? Because the cockroach of the sea, the shrimp goes around and it's a bottom feeder. It scrapes up all the crap off the bottom. Then you pop it and eat it. And it's amazing to me. And I'm going to use the word hypocrisy, because you'll say, oh, I would never eat a cricket, which is actually shown to be good for you, but yet you chow down on pork, you chow down on L-cysteine, don't even read ingredients, you actually eat GMO'd food and soy products, the glyphosate and all the nasty things they add, and then in shrimp and shellfish, which filter out seawater, all those things which have clinically and medically been shown to be bad for you. They have been shown to be bad for you, but yet people will jump on this bandwagon and trash eating crickets. Personally, who knows? I'm saying I won't. I might have some crickets someday just to see what they taste like. I've never had one. I don't mind. I personally don't want that as my main staple. But guys, please don't jump on bandwagons. Try to have some intelligent thought about what you think you should be eating and what not eating. And don't jump onto a lot of these channels who are simply just trying to, in my opinion, fearmonger and take you down the paths of, oh, you know what? Let's boycott crickets because we never want that in our food now. How about you boycott L-cysteine? That's nasty. How about you tell the truth about pork and shrimp? Because the stuff is not good for you at all. Okay. Anyways, I guess I got a little bit on a soapbox here, but it's okay. You know what? I have to get on the soapbox once in a while. I would love to see your comments below. And again, the original email I put up, I'm not trashing you guys at all. I simply just got into the subject of, this is the prepping subject now, is like, oh no, crickets. They're now trying to feed us crickets. No, they're not. They're trying to sell them. You don't have to eat them. Okay, thanks for watching.